Live from PATV Studios, it's the Lyle Style Show. And now, the man with the most style, it's your host, Lyle Style.
Hey, well, welcome to another edition of Lyle Style Show. This is going to be a good show here. I'm here with Officer sshwindt. He's the liaison man, community working with the Iowacity Police Department. He also is working with the homeless situation, and I'm talking to him a little bit about what's going on. So I want to thank you, David.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Man. Now we talked to you before the cameras. We talked a little bit about a lot of different stuff though. But let's get around with a little bit of background. Now you said you're from Davenport.
Correct.
And so now you're originally from Iowa then?
Yes.
Did you grow up in Davenport or was it?
Born and raised in Davenport.
Oh, okay. So so now how did you transition from? I know it's kind of a boring story, but our viewers may want to know this too.
Okay.
From what you did and get off into police work and doing what you're doing now.
Okay. Before I was a police officer, the job I had before that was doing tech support and website programming for an internet provider in Moline, Illinois, called Quad Cities Online. And I was actually just eating breakfast one morning, looking through the classified ads, and I don't even know why, and I saw this ad that the city was hiring for a police officer, and I thought, geez, I've seen that on TV.
Yeah.
It looks kind of interesting. I wonder what it'd be like to do that for a job. And I never knew a police officer, didn't have one in my family growing up, and so a friend of a family friend was a police officer at the time, and I went and talked to him one time, and he said, go ahead and apply. You're going to have to apply 8, 9, 10 times before you make it to the final round anyway. You can get an understanding of what the process is like, and see if you're even interested. Well, the first place I went and applied just happened to be looking for somebody with computer knowledge, and so I ended up making it all the way through, and they called me and offered me a job, and I actually had to say, can I call you back tomorrow? Because I'm going to have to give this some thought.
Right, okay.
I didn't expect this to happen.
Yeah.
And I ended up taking it, and the rest is history there.
Wow. So you've been with all together about 17 years then?
Correct, yeah.
Wow. Okay, so 13 with the Iowa City?
13 with Iowa City and 4 years with the city of Comanche, which is right on the Mississippi River next to Clinton.
Oh, wow. That's a little bit. Okay, now that's closer to Quad City too.
Right, about 20 minutes, half hour north of the Quad Cities.
Okay, wow. Okay, and so that's a long time. You've been doing your thing for that long, and now you've been doing various different positions with the PD, obviously PD. I know everybody knows you on doing the community type thing with the bike. Now what did you start off with before you got the position with the bike? You was just a beat officer, or?
I mainly worked 3 to 11 patrol each year. I did 1 year in investigations in 2006. I did 1 year of day shift, and otherwise it was mainly 3 to 11 patrol shift before I took this position.
Oh, wow. Okay. Now, what do you think about this? This is something that you like doing? Because you're with the community 24/7 now.
Yeah, most of my day is spent out and about. I really like this position. It gives me a chance to get out, and instead of being in a squad car just driving past, I'm 100% of my time is pretty much foot and bike patrol, so I get to talk to people. People find me more approachable, so they'll come up and talk to me. A lot of just friendly conversations, and I can enforce things now that traditionally were much more difficult to enforce driving in a squad car.
Oh, wow. Excellent. Wow, yeah. And so with that now, we were talking a little bit about the homeless situation, about community things, the programs they have. Now, my thing is like, you know what? See, I was here back in the 90s, and I've realized now that even back in the 90s, it hasn't been. In the 90s, it really wasn't that big of a problem because in the 90s, I hardly saw people on the corners asking for money back in the 90s. And now you see it everywhere. I mean, now, why do you think that is so big of a situation now? Because this is just a regular college town. It's not a big city. So why is it so much of a big deal now in 2014?
I guess since I wasn't working this position in the 90s, it's hard to say what's changed. But what I see and from talking to people who are actually out there soliciting for money. Iowa City and Johnson County in general has a lot of services available to people. They have the free lunch program, they have the Salvation Army, both which feed people at least 6 days a week. There's other community services that come in and feed other days also. We have the homeless shelter and a number of housing assistance programs, the free medical clinic, community mental health, places to get all types of services at no cost. The majority of the people who I talk to who are out soliciting for money are out soliciting for money for things that they can't get through the free services, which basically are alcohol, tobacco, and illicit drugs. And that's the honest truth of what the majority of them are looking for money for. Now, sometimes people will say, hey, I didn't make it to free lunch, I'm just trying to get money for a sandwich. And there are those exceptions out there, it's a case-by-case basis, but there are people that are soliciting in the decent weather, basically day in and day out, and they're looking for those items that they can't get, that we don't provide for free.
Right, and okay, now what about a job? Because I know Iowa got the lowest unemployment rate in the whole country. So what's the deal with a job? Why do you think they can't get a job? If they want to get a job, they can't get a job? I mean, you out there, what is the, what is...
Yeah, and there's varied issues, but the majority of the people whom I deal with on a day-to-day basis are suffering from mental illness and or some sort of chemical dependency issue, both of which make it very difficult to get and maintain a job. Many are just living hour by hour, day by day, and they just don't schedule time. I learned that when I started my community service program. We had a lot of tickets that were being unpaid in the downtown area, and one of the problems I ran into is, in order to enforce laws, there has to be a consequence.
Right.
Well, if you're downtown riding your bicycle on the sidewalk, and I explain to you that that's against city ordinance, you can ride in the street, just obey all traffic laws, or walk your bicycle on the sidewalk. Your average citizen is going to think, I don't want to get a ticket for that. Hey, thanks for the warning. Now I know I'm going to walk my bike or ride it where I'm allowed. And if I do write you a ticket, you're probably going to pay the ticket. If you don't, that ticket then goes into collections. Well, if I'm living on the street and I don't have a job and I'm not worried about taking out a loan or buying a house and I have no money that they can take from me, what do I care if you write me a ticket? I'm not going to pay it and they're not going to do anything to me.
Wow.
So there's no consequence.
Yeah.
And many of them know that. Many of them have 5 figures in fines racked up. So one of the challenges I had was, how do we make a system where people can pay off these fines without going out and soliciting for money to pay the fines, and try and give them better ownership of the area, and have a consequence still for when they receive a citation. And so I started a community service program where anyone with outstanding fines can typically get permission to come and work the community service and work hours to pay off their fines. And my goal was that the people who spend a lot of time in the Ped Mall, if we get to a point where they're issued a citation, which typically in my circumstance, I'm going to give somebody 10, 15 warnings before it comes to a ticket, if I think those warnings are going to eventually lead to that voluntary compliance that we're always seeking. Because there's some people who I can tell them you can't smoke in the pedestrian mall. Oh, okay, and they walk out. And 5 minutes later, they're back smoking. And it's not because they're a bad person or they're trying to be bad or they're trying to break the law or they don't care. They just don't remember. And so if that's the case,
mental health situation,
that comes into the mental health and the chemical abuse things. Then it can be repeated warnings if I think that those repeated warnings are going to change behavior and break that habit. And that's worked in a lot of cases. Sometimes after 15, 20 warnings, I'm going to try a different approach, and that's going to be issuing a citation. And at that point, we have the community service now available that they can come work off those fines, so it's not money coming out of their pocket they would otherwise use for food or some other necessity.
Oh, wow, that's an excellent program. I didn't even realize that was out there. Did you just start this program, or?
I started that last year. Again, one of the goals was, too, that these people spend a lot of time in the pedestrian mall. And that's what the pedestrian mall was created for. It was for spending time and socializing, and there's a lot of people that use it for that day in and day out and spend a lot of time down there. Hope with the community service was, if somebody is smoking in the pedestrian mall, littering in the pedestrian mall, something, and they receive a citation, and they work some community service hours to pay off that citation within the pedestrian mall, it's going to give them a little more ownership of that area, so that hopefully when they're down there in their leisure time, if they see somebody throw something on the ground, they'll say to that person, hey, I'm just going to have to pick that up if you don't. Let's take care of this area.
Right, exactly. That's yep. Now, another question I've been talking about, about this homeless situation. Okay, now, do you find it that is becoming to a place where a lot more grown folks or family people being homeless, like kids or out there homeless? I mean, because like I said, Iowa City is a college town, and it's not designed to be homeless like a big city. So, I mean, in your experience, do you see the majority is grown folks, or you see a lot of families out there, homeless out there, just walking the streets, whatever?
In my time on the Iowa City Police Department, I have never run across a family with children living on the street.
Oh, that's good.
We have had calls for service where someone will show up here on a bus from out of town, and they will arrive here with no plans of what to do, and when they step off the bus in Iowa City, they will call the police department and explain that, I just got here with my children, I have no place to stay, what can you do to help me? Well, at that point, we try to do something in order to help the children, but we have limited resources with shelter houses and some other places that in cold weather provide some emergency services, hotel rooms, et cetera, from private funding. But I don't know of any case where we haven't been able to find some type of accommodations for those. The majority of the people who are truly homeless and living on the street, living under a bridge or in one of the campsites that are set up around town, they're adults. Again, I haven't run across any children in those areas. And again, the mental health issues or the chemical dependency issues are pretty popular among that group.
Well, I mean, so can they get, what's the deal? Do they want to get help? Can they get help, or because I know they have the Veteran Hospital, University, whatever. So, do you think there's any solution to these individuals to stopping them from having that type of lifestyle? I mean, because I think everybody eventually want to have a roof over their head and food.
Yes. And, the VA does bring in some people who are homeless and living on the street. They come here for the care, and whether it's continued care and they have no place to stay, or if it's they get their care and they're discharged from the hospital and now have nowhere to go and no resources to get there. I believe it was in November of 2013, so just a few months ago, there was a grant that the VA has now for homeless veterans, that if you are a veteran and you're homeless in Johnson County now, I have the contact person for at the VA who helps the homeless vets, and they can get people into housing pretty quick if they're a vet. They got a very large grant, and they're getting that housing assistance to the vets pretty quick right now.
Oh, wow, that's wonderful to hear. Okay.
Great program if you're a vet. If you're not a vet, that one doesn't help a whole lot.
So, that's a wonderful thing right there. So, I mean, now you were talking a little bit about different programs that you have that through with the shelter house. That you talk with some of the director there, and they got some stuff going on.
Right. Shelter House is looking into basically researching a program called FUSE. FUSE, and I believe the acronym stands for Frequent User System Enhancement, I think is the term. And the concept behind that is you get together people from the hospital, the ambulance service, the police, and you find out who are these people who are homeless, who are using a great majority of these public services. And the people who are repeatedly calling for an ambulance, going to the ER, repeatedly being arrested for different issues and spending time in jail. I'm talking nonviolent issues, public intox laws, et cetera. And let's identify this core group of people who are using a lot of services. And rather than put them in a long line where they have to go through counseling or other prerequisites before they can get housing, let's get them into housing right now. We'll get them into housing, stabilize them through services there, and pay up front, basically, to get them into the housing. And what they found using this program in other cities, I believe it was San Jose, but there's information on endhomelessness.org, I believe, is the website, where there are places that, I think one was the average frequent user was using $42,000 a year in services between jail and emergency room and ambulances. Well, it cost them, I think, something in the effects of $15,000 in services and another $12,000 in housing costs. And so that first year, there was a net savings for the community of about $12,000.
Oh, okay, wow.
Because their services usage between the ambulance and the hospital and the jail went down so great just by getting into housing that there was an overall savings for the community.
Oh, wow, so they saved some money then.
They're saving a great deal of money in some circumstances.
Now, do you think that, okay, because I talked to my mom, she lives in Michigan and whatnot, and I was talking to her about homeless situations too a little bit, and I was saying, now, do you think that because those big cities they're really strict about a lot of different services they have to give the people out there, that Iowa is so generous that a lot of people hear about that and come here to get these different programs and inundate themselves, like say Chicago or Detroit or whatever like that and stuff, where we get to a place that gets too overcrowded. Do you think that we should maybe get a little bit more stricter, or do you think that what Iowa's doing is working? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I understand what you're asking, I think. There definitely does seem to be a subculture where there's communication between people living on the streets to know, hey, this is a good city to head to as a destination because of the services available, or hey, I was over in this city and there is nothing there and they don't treat you nicely, stay away from that city. I don't think Iowa City is the type of place that's willing to turn that corner and say, you know what, we're just not going to be nice to people anymore. We're not going to provide these services. If you come here, we're willing to help and give you that chance to get back on your feet.
Okay, but suppose you continue to use that and not even trying to help yourself. I mean, what is there a solution for? I mean, I agree with you that it's a need for it, and we should definitely help out people that really need it, families, kids, blah blah blah, whatever. But what are people that try to abuse it? How do you deal with those people that try to abuse the system?
Boy, I wish I had the answer for that one. I really do.
Man, I would like to. Well, if you had the answer, we could definitely do so. But there are people out there that's going to try to take advantage. That's sad. That's sad to say. That's in any good thing. They're going to have people that try to abuse a good situation, which Iowa has a good thing of really helping folks. Right. Those folks.
And I think our system for homelessness is pretty difficult to abuse, other than being chronically using the services. Okay. Because I don't know anybody who stays on the street just to get a free meal somewhere. Okay. The one case I think of is a gentleman who was living on the street, got a job at a restaurant. And this is the story as he tells it to me. I have no other knowledge than the way he tells it to me. And he was washing dishes at this restaurant. And hey, I was proud of him. He was showing up to work, taking a bus, going to work, making it. And he worked there about a week when one of his superiors came to him and said, you know what, we're going to have you start, when you're not busy washing dishes, doing the line prep.
Okay, a good position.
Which upset him, because now they wanted him to do additional tasks, but they didn't want to pay him anymore. So, in his mind, they were trying to take advantage of him by making him do more work. So he was being penalized for doing a good job washing dishes, because now they want me to do something else too, rather than look at it as, hey, this is a stepping stone to move up to a better job where I might be able to make more money. Right. And that frustrated him, so he quit. Oh. So it comes back to the mental illness issues, where the rationality isn't always there, and so that makes it difficult to maintain that job, save money, and look down the line. It's all about today for a lot of people. What's good for me today? And if I think somebody's taking advantage of me, I'm going to walk away because that's not good for me.
Okay. So it's mental health situation. It's mental health issues.
A lot of them, there's mental health issues.
And so how do you tackle that? how do you help these people that got mental health issues that's out here homeless? Or is there a solution, or are we still working on that?
And unless someone is suicidal or homicidal, I cannot force them into any mental illness treatment. So I was told a long time ago by someone saying, you can't push a rope. If you got somebody who doesn't want help, all you can do is help them maintain where they are. And a lot of the people that I deal with who are chronically homeless, they'll say they choose to be that way. I think if they could get a roof over their head, they would absolutely take it. But it's easier, I think, to say, I choose to live this way, and I can maintain this without anybody's assistance.
Wow.
Whereas if we had a Housing First program, I think a lot of them would utilize that and would actually get off the street.
Do we have one?
No, that's something that Shelter House is looking into, the Housing First program.
Okay.
There are a number of barriers for that. There's the financial barriers of the startup costs.
Okay.
Locating housing, because where are you going to house these people without pushback from the surrounding property owners? Because they're going to be concerned about what housing people with mental illness and chemical dependency issues are going to bring into the neighborhood. And so right now they're doing the research to find out the startup costs, can we get the backing, et cetera.
Oh wow, that's, man. I hope they now. But then again, if they have to get the backing, does it have to go through legislation? Does it have to go, or is it just Johnson County?
It would probably, my understanding is, I think at city council level, there would need to be some city council action. They would probably be looking, I'm guessing here, for some sort of city financial support, maybe for some zoning support if they find property where they could create housing for that type of system.
Yeah, because then again, I think that because the shelter house is only one shelter house here in the Johnson County area. Do you think I would think they would need to look into like another shelter house, to put in, because one shelter house only can hold so many people.
Yeah.
But like you said, if they do the first housing thing, that would be for people with dependencies and people that have mental health issues. They can stay there.
Right, and that would be for your frequent users, your heavy users of those services. So it would be a small number of people, especially at first, a very small number of people. But the hope is to take the strain off of the resources of the jail and the emergency rooms and the ambulance.
Now, with the homeless situation, it's a lot of adults. Is it more males or more females, or is it both equal? Or do you see more homeless males, or because I know there's, I hate to say it, I wouldn't, I know there's probably females that's homeless or whatever that's out there, but do you see more males versus females, or?
My experience of those with whom I deal, definitely more males.
More males? Well, okay, that's okay. Well, that's because definitely want to see a female out there, no home, or definitely with kids. That's not. I don't want to see nobody with a home, period. But it's just because I just noticed a lot. Like I said, you wouldn't hear in the '90s, but in the '90s, it wasn't. It was a rare thing to see somebody panhandle at the pet mall or panhandle somewhere on the east side or the north side, whatever. It was rare to see that back in the '90s when I was living here back from '89 to '95. It was kind of rare, We saw it, but really wasn't. It wasn't noticeable because it wasn't a lot. Now are they okay? Let me ask you this question: Are they ordinances for people for panhandle? Is that something that it doesn't matter where you are, so you could do that?
We do have city ordinances. It's called aggressive solicitation, and there are certain restrictions on solicitation. Some specific to the central business district, the downtown, which includes the pedestrian mall. Soliciting for money has been found by the Supreme Court to be First Amendment protected, so we have to allow it in some form.
Okay.
But the city is allowed to put certain restrictions on it. And so there are restrictions such as not within 10 feet of a building within the central business district. One of the recent ones they passed was to prohibit soliciting in some of the areas where they have parking meters, Because with the new parking meters, with the credit cards, people are having to get out, open up their wallet, pull a card out, and stand there for a little while.
Right.
And we got some feedback of people feeling uncomfortable that when they're doing this, somebody is standing right there asking them for money
right.
with their wallets open.
Right. Oh, wow.
And so there are some restrictions, but it is allowed within the downtown and within the city, just with those certain restrictions under that code.
Okay, so now it seemed like Iowa City and Coralville, those two different towns. Then, so what goes on in Coralville, may not apply to Iowa City, or do y'all have the same, because I see people trying to panhandle in Coralville, right, on the strip, whatever like that, but they're in Coralville, so.
Right, and I'm not familiar with all of Coralville's ordinances.
Okay, so they have different
So they have their own city ordinance.
Okay, so it's not where one ordinance is for both towns, whatever.
Right.
Yeah, okay, and probably where North Liberty, I don't hardly see that, North Liberty. I don't understand that. I hardly see people panhandle in North Liberty.
Yeah.
I don't see that.
Well, and here we have a lot of services within Iowa City for the homeless community. For example, the free lunch program.
Okay, yeah.
And so it's a lot easier to go, especially free lunch, which last year was just north of the downtown Dubuque Street at the Wesley Center.
Yeah.
So it was a couple blocks north of the pedestrian mall, and that has since moved to the new 1105 project down in Gilbert Court. That has moved now.
So where's that at?
Gilbert Court, it's right by the Crisis Center, the Salvation Army. They're all in that 1100 block of Gilbert Court right there.
Okay.
So the idea was to consolidate the services into one area. So free lunch is there now. Not yet sure how that's going to affect the foot traffic in the pedestrian mall come summertime. As the weather warms up, whether people will still be coming to free lunch, or will they no longer migrate down to the pedestrian mall before or after free lunch, because it's a greater distance now. But that move from the Wesley Center to the 1105 project was entirely free lunch. The city and the police department, we had nothing to do with that.
Okay.
Some people think we did that to get people out of the pedestrian mall. My stance is, I think we should have all the people in the pedestrian mall that want to be there, as long as they're respectful of the area and the people who are there to enjoy themselves.
Right, exactly.
And so this last fall, we went through a round of city ordinance additions and changes to kind of do that, to protect the area for everyone, but still allow everybody to be there.
Wow, I mean, see, I must say that you just seem the type of person that really equipped to do this type of stuff, because you're a caring person and you're really sensitive about people's needs, and the people that are in the store, people, also the people that's out there trying to do that. You care about people in general, so that's good that you have that quality about yourself. And this subject is a subject that you can't really do for a half hour. You have to talk about, because this subject you can talk about for an hour and really get really good grasp about what's going on. But I'd like for you to come back on the show again, and maybe we can talk about little solutions, and maybe some more solutions. Okay. Because we kind of hit the iceberg about what's happening in Iowa City. Because like I keep, it's a college town, but there's a lot of people moving from different cities to Iowa City or to the state of Iowa to live. Because housing is good here. Education is good here. It's a good place to raise your family, raise your child, whatever. So a lot of people moving in from Chicago, different metropolitan areas all over the country. I noticed that since the '90s, and so we have to. I definitely want to invite you back on the show, seriously, to talk. Maybe you can tell me little solutions that we can maybe hit this or whatever, and come up with some answers to the viewers out there. So. My producer's raising 1 minute left. She always does that to me, man. But Officer sshwindt, I want to thank you, man. I want you to come back on the show again.
Anytime.
We can do this. This is part one. This is be part two. Maybe some solutions and whatnot. Hopefully, I'll have some feedback about this, and maybe I'll have some questions that more ask you. That people that watch the show that want to know, you can give.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic to bring some questions on. I'm happy to answer anything.
Yeah, definitely. Especially my mom. So. She watched the show, we put it on YouTube, and so she said, well, I want to see this because I want to. I said, okay, Mom, you will.
Well, I'll come back and answer Mom's question.
Okay, I appreciate that. And people don't realize that you are good with computers. You don't even look like the type of person to be in computers, man. Like I said.
Saying I don't look smart?
Yeah, no. I'm talking about like, put my foot in my mouth.
Yeah,
no, but no. You, I mean, I thought you was sports, but you're not. You was more computer, laid back computer person.
Right.
Which is wow. For coming from Davenport too, that's all my friends I know are athletes. So I just assume everybody from Davenport's an athlete, but it's not. But anyway, thank you for coming on the show. If you want to shout out to somebody,
I'd say hello to my daughter Sydney.
Oh, okay, good. Your daughter Sydney. How old is she?
6 years old.
Oh my God, boy, she's getting old.
I know.
Oh shoot, boy. So she watched the show. She'll shout out to her, and I want to shout out to my sweetheart. Oh, here I go. See the camera move out all the time. Sweetheart, Kathy, I love you. Thank you for supporting me. She watches the show all the time. I appreciate that, sweetheart, and everybody that watched the show. I want to thank y'all for tuning in to Lyle Style Show. Special thanks for my officer sshwindt for coming down here. We'll see him again with part 2 of the homeless situation in the future. So, as always, I want to say, everybody keep styling and profiling. Till next time, be good to yourself, and please be good to other people. See you next time.